It is day 3 of my 3 days in a row, and I'm half dead already. I am so freaking tired. Decided to rip off his IV, his external catheter, and said wanted to go home.
Phone lights ringing, calls are blinking, patience pooping, case running. A beautiful sight, so happy my night, walking in a winter wonderland.
Morning guys, so I'm packing my lunchbox right now. I have sweet potato. I still have 2 left over of my empanadas, and this is for my snacks. I really think that ginger honey tea is a great idea right now. I feel like kind of stuffy. My nose is stuffy, but it's not really that congested yet, but I could feel that, you know, it's stuffy. I am so tired guys, and I'm actually thinking about I'm supposed to do the vlogmas daily, but it is crazy. I thought I would be able to do it, but I don't think so. Like, I'm really tired, especially if I'm going to work 3 days in a row. We're not gonna do it. I just don't think so. Maybe we'll do the 12 days of vlogmas. Guys, the moon's so bright. Can't believe I'm working today and the weekend. I'm like tired thinking about it already. I'm here guys. Hi guys, it is almost 9 o'clock and I just got home. So since I'm really hungry, I'm gonna try and eat this sweet and sour chicken that I got from the dollar store, and it's almost like $4, and this is one of my favorite. It's a steamed dumpling, so I think this was about $4. So we're just gonna have a quick dinner for tonight. It will be a lot of calories, but I think I kind of deserve it. So yep, that's the total calorie I'm gonna having tonight. Moon. Microwave on high with lid on 4.5 minutes.
Playing in this game.
Good morning guys. It is day 3 of my 3 days in a row, and I'm half dead already. I am so freaking tired, and I kind of don't like my schedule next week because it's like an on and off thing. It's like what I've told you. So I wanted to have a really good rest after these 3 days, and I won't be able to really keep up in the house because, you know, tomorrow I'll be probably really tired, and I kind of want to like just sleep or rest just to recover and then work again. So yeah, yesterday was a shit show. So yeah. Right now I feel really hungry because I had a really huge dinner last night because I was so freaking tired and stressed, and I didn't bring anything like lunch from yesterday's shift. And you know, I like to eat rice, however I didn't have anything with rice yesterday, so when I got home I bought something from the Dollar Tree, which is like a ready-made and you just microwave it and eat it. It's a Asian food. So yeah, I ate a lot last night because I was really tired and hungry. But anyway, let me talk about my shift yesterday. I started with 4 patients and it was so good for the first few hours. Like, I have organized everything, I have prioritized who I wanted to see first. I was able to basically pass my meds smoothly. Like most of my patients, meds are not that much, so it kind of helps that way. I was like really not expecting a chaotic day because it's weekend anyway. Most of the time weekends pretty chill. And then I don't really have to think about care team. Care team is the time where we usually talk with the team regarding the care of our patients. So the physician, all the nurses, therapist, pharmacist, social workers, and the nurse case manager. So, and also our house supervisor. So basically we're just gonna talk about the plan of care of this patient, if the patient is going to discharge, or how long are they gonna stay, or are they gonna be referred to a social worker regarding their situation, you know, stuff like that. But on the weekends and holidays we don't really do that, so it's kind of like less stress, because it gets so stressful if it's your first day shift, because you barely even have time to read all of your notes from the patient's chart, especially if you work in Medsurg. I mean, during the morning, you're lucky if you get a really good report from a nurse or from a previous nurse, but there are times you really don't get those type of report. You know, you don't get the full detail of the patient. So of course you're going to go through with the chart, which is not a big deal because you could always go through with the chart, but sometimes you don't have time because of your stuff that you need to do. But anyways, let's talk about that later. So yesterday I started with 4 patients, and yeah, what do I have? Like, I had a patient that I was expected to get discharged, which is not a big deal because, you know, he's pretty easy, he's independent, and he's basically just gonna get his discharge paper and wait for a ride, you know, no IVs and stuff. So he was able to discharge smoothly. So I ended up having 3 patients for the rest of the afternoon, and it was pretty smooth. Around 3 o'clock, I believe, I received 3:30. Yeah, 3:30. I received a new admission. Complaints of nausea and vomiting and abdominal pain. And when they did a CT scan, it's acute pancreatitis. So, what are you doing? My dogs. The house is a mess, guys. I mean, it's not really that bad, but it just gets to the point that why is it everything happens, or crazy things happen 2 hours or an hour before your shift change? So that's what I am talking about. Like, it just got everything. It throws me off the bus around that time when you're about to get, you know, shift change. Anyways, so I have a patient that have one of my patients receiving LASIK strip. So not a big deal because he has full A. So I was able to measure his output, urine output smoothly. Pressures were fine. Yeah, but however, he's really dealing with a lot of pain. So it kind of is hard to, I mean, not hard, but kind of is really stressful to take care with patients who are dealing with a lot of pain, because you have to really give them or try to manage the pain by giving them their meds, scheduled pain medications, and PRN medications, and come to see them time to time if it gives them relief, stuff like that. That's also what happened with my acute pancreatitis patient. Anyway, the other one has flu and RSV, which droplet precautions, not a big deal too. She kind of needs, assistance. Sometimes she calls, and she is a nurse, a retired nurse. Kind of gives me a call time to time just to assist her to use the bedside commode. We do have techs, but it's just our techs were also so busy because we were packed yesterday. So basically, you're not gonna wait for them. You're gonna do the stuff that needed to do with the patient. You're not gonna wait with your patient care tech. Anyways, around noontime, I was able. No, not noon. I think I've already noticed that one of my patients' IV site is kind of infiltrated, so I was already planning. I think it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon that I noticed that her IV is kind of infiltrated, and I was already planning to, initiate a new IV. However, our house soup kind of called me that I am going to receive a new admission since I've already discharged one of my patients, which is not a big deal. So this was the one that is in excruciating pain as well, with complaints of pain and nausea and vomiting. Anyways, I was like, I'm gonna wait till ER calls me to do a report before I initiate the IV, so at least I get this patient situated and then I could go with my IV. But I was waiting for like an hour and a half, and they haven't really called, and I checked the chart and there's no orders put in yet for that patient. So I was like, I think it was like 3 o'clock. I was like, I'm gonna put this IV in, so because it takes forever for them to call. Anyways, I went there and I started to put an IV. ER called wanting to give report. I was like, dang it, I was waiting for like an hour and a half and they haven't really called me for a report, and now I'm doing something. They're starting to call, and then 15 minutes, I think they called twice. I think the first time when they called, I was trying to grab all the supplies I needed to start an IV, and they didn't even wait for at least a few minutes, and they called back again the second time. And I was finally in a patient's room, and I told our church nurse that, hey, I'm starting an IV right now. The reason why it took me forever to start my IV, because I have to take the patient to the bathroom. Once you go to a patient's room, there's always something. You cannot do the things that you needed to do as soon as you can, because they always ask for something. So I went in there. She is like, ask some ice water, and then he wanted to use the bathroom, and she's not independent, so of course I gotta take things slow with her because she needs an assistance. So it took me a while to start an IV, and ER called again, third time, and I told my church nurse, I couldn't get report yet because I'm still here, so all they gotta do is to wait for me to call back. So anyway, thank goodness I was able to initiate IV pretty fast. And mind you, my patient is a retired nurse, and I was not scared because I wasn't nervous because she was really nice too, and I was able to initiate the IV really quick. After that, I'm done, so I was finally able to give the ER a phone call regarding the report. Then 30 minutes after, the patient arrived with the whole family in the unit. And you know how it is, receiving an admission patient with a whole gang. it's kind of rough because they're so worried with the patient. Of course, I understand that. They're gonna ask you a bunch of questions. You wouldn't be able to finish your admission. I mean, quick. You're not gonna be able to go through with your admission questions pretty quick because sometimes the family asks a lot of stuff. This family are really nice though. They were able to help me with the meds review, which is a good thing. But they're too worried with the pain, and I get that. They're really in a hurry to give some pain medication to this patient. But you know, once you get an admission, you have to go through with admission questions, review their medications that they took from home, tell the doctor that you have done their medaurg, and then she will finalize everything. What are the things that she needs to order for this patient before you could give something for, you know, for the patient. And it seems like her pain is very progressively and very continuously, and doesn't even relieve. Like, it would give her a relief for like an hour or so, or 30 minutes, and then she's gonna develop this pain again. Like, it's going to start, and it's pancreatitis, and it's actually expected. And I know how painful it is. I mean, I haven't tried that, but most of my patients always deal with this crazy pain. So around the clock, from 3:30 to 5 something, I was basically going back and forth to my new patient, or to my new admission, trying to manage her pain and nausea. So plus family inside, and trying to get her to pee or void, so we could, you know, also check for I think the doctor, no, it wasn't the doctor, but I think that order was from the ER, and they were not able to acquire it because patient didn't void, so I ended up doing it. Anyway, while I was in the middle of pain managing with this patient, 5:30, one of my patients got really confused and decided to rip off his IV, his external catheter, and said wanted to go home. Our charge nurse went in while I was in the middle of something, told me that the patient ripped off everything. So I had to go in there, start an IV. I think it took us 2 times till we finally initiated a good one. Put an external catheter, tried to convince him or get him situated for dinner, and give him some meds. So yeah, and after that, bam bam bam, everybody's needing something. And then I wasn't able to write my care plan as soon as I can. I mean, I did started my care plan, but you know, it wasn't finalized yet. So I'm supposed to get all this patient today, and I hope everything goes well with us, you know. Because I'm tired, guys. Like, I already can't wait to go home. Anyways, yeah, I'll tell you again later about my shift, okay? See you later, guys. Bye. Everybody's just waiting for me here.